No correspondence.
Mr. Fixie?
The board welcomes comments from citizens who have completed public comment cards this evening, which are accepted until 15 minutes prior to the beginning of the open meeting and are not transferable to other speakers. Please be advised that the information shared in public comment is not an endorsement of the information shared by the presenter and solely provides the opinion of the individual speaker, not the district. During the public comment period, comments should be directed to the Board of Trustees only, not other attendees, and only made once you have been called upon to speak. To ensure that all speakers are treated equally and have the same amount of time, the podium microphone will be turned off at the conclusion of the time for every speaker. The total time allotted for the public comment session is 30 minutes. Each speaker shall have 1 minute to address the board. Speakers will be called in the order in which each individual signed up to speak. Please keep all public comments related to school district governance and operations. If you have a specific concern related to an employee of the district or a specific student issue, you should utilize the district's grievance procedures provided in board policies DGBA local, FNG local, and GF local. Each grievance procedure allows for an individual to redress grievances with the Board of Trustees. Additionally, if there are 5 or more individuals that would like to speak on the same topic, you may choose to appoint an individual to speak on behalf of the group. Finally, remember that the board may not discuss or act upon any issues that are not properly posted on the agenda.
Thank you. We do have 29 citizens that spoke to, signed up to speak this evening. We are really passionate about hearing every single one of these. We want to partner with everyone in this room on this public comment section of our agenda. So if we can all work together to get through these 29 comments and support each other, this board and this community would really appreciate that moving forward. With that, Ashley Hanselman, you will be first, followed by Mike Draper.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ashley Hansman. I'm a certified teacher of 11 years, with 6 spent teaching first grade in the public classroom. I'm a mom of 4 children, 2 of whom attend Bright Academy through the lottery. Before I begin my remarks, I would like to personally thank each of you on the board, the district personnel, principals, teachers, and support staff who work so diligently on developmentally appropriate practices, and for the professionalism and flexibility exhibited during the past 16 months of COVID. In 2019, you adopted brain breaks at the elementary school level. As a mom, educator, and colleague, I humbly implore you to commit to communicating the brain break guidelines directly and explicitly with each elementary school principal to ensure that the students on their campus receive the full benefits of the program. The ask of you is to follow through with this amazing program that you implemented because you clearly do understand the social, emotional, and physical benefits. One concern in doing so from where you sit might be campus autonomy and flexibility. Those are naturally met as individual grade level teams at each campus choose a brain break outside of their campus lunch recesses and specialty classes working within their school's master schedule. Principals and teachers, thank you.
Thank you very much. And we know that a minute is fast, so if you have other comments that you'd like to share with the board, please feel free to email us. All of our individual emails are on the website, or if you'd like to get all of your comments to district leadership, you can simply email leaders@friscoisd.org. Mike Draper, followed by Keith Brenson.
My name is Mike Draper. I wanted to speak tonight about the middle school ILA pilot program where on-level and advanced classes are being combined. You've already heard from many concerned parents, but this evening I want to share the concerns of Frisco ISD teachers. The following are words from Frisco ISD teachers regarding the middle school pilot. Please hear our teachers. Many highly capable students do not qualify for gifted and talented, but their needs exceed on-level curriculum. I do believe we should continue to offer advanced classes at the middle school level. Why must we worry about keeping things fair and overwhelming our teachers with multiple preps rather than what is right for our staff and our students? The teacher has no choice but to reduce the level of rigor to meet the mean ability level in that class. Engaging in the level of differentiation required causes the teacher to burn out. We simply do not have the resources to truly differentiate for all of our levels of students right now. Please listen to our teachers. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Keith Brunson, followed by Carrie Morris.
Keith Brunson, Frisco resident, 14 years, got 2 kids in FISD, 12472. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm a pilot. I fly for a living. Before I was a pilot, I was an aircraft mechanic. Before that, I was a baggage handler and warehouse worker. I've lived in Dallas, Denver, Salt Lake City, Memphis, Atlanta, and Lubbock, Texas. To say that I've worked with a comprehensive cross-section of America is an understatement. Having done all this, and now interacting with people all over this great country, I will tell you every time I go to fly, this is not a racist country. Our kids don't have that advantage, and it's not their fault. Instead of lifelong experience, day in and day out, I'm bombarded by social media, by politicians, Hollywood, the media itself, and now the academia that tells me that America is racist. That racism and prejudice are integrated in every American institution. That success equals privilege and unfairness, while hard work is non-existent. Academic giftedness and pursuit equal unfairness and inequality. I'm telling you, this is not how our country works. I've heard through others, through other social media accounts that our parents...
Thank you. I'm sorry your time has expired, but if you'd like to send the rest of your comments to the board, please feel free to do so via email.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You are not unintelligent, just letting you know. Thank you.
Thank you. Carrie Morris, followed by Jonathan Larkin.
Carrie Morris, former educator, former substitute for FISD for 6 or 7 years, 3 children through FISD, and now concerned community member. I'm disappointed that you all caved to virtual learning. I'm disappointed that my tax dollars are going to be used for that program. Disappointed that we are subjecting brand new teachers to be virtual teachers again. I know a specific case, 2 teachers had to teach virtual last year. Another one just got assigned to teach virtual again. Not fair. That is not teaching. Teaching is being in the classroom with your kids, loving on those kids. It's called public education. If you want a virtual education, there are hundreds of programs in the state of Texas that are available to students. Disappointed that my tax dollars are being used to fund virtual education. And the next thing I'm going to ask is, you're going to cave on masks. I know you cave on virtual education.
Thank you for your comments. Dr. Walbert, may I ask a clarifying question? Okay, so everyone can hear. Okay. Jonathan Larkin, followed by Todd Slade.
Thank you for the time to speak tonight. I'm John Larkin. I live in 8779 Dancliff. I have 2 students who will be at Staley Middle School this year. I've been a long time volunteer in our district and love all the schools here. Last March, my wife contracted a serious but thankfully not fatal case of COVID. To this day, she suffers from long-term effects that make her unable to live her life as fully as she did before she got sick. Looking forward, much of the additional loss of life and long-term damage is preventable, but only if communities like ours do the right thing. In the face of the Delta variant, the CDC has recommended universal indoor masking for all students, staffs, teachers, and visitors, regardless of the vaccination status. Dallas ISD has already taken a step to require masks, and we should as well. My older son's going into 8th grade, so I don't have the option of having him learn virtually, though I appreciate you offering that to younger students. My younger son isn't old enough to get the vaccine. This leaves me with no way to truly shield my household and my loved ones from potential exposure to this virus. Until we've reached the vaccination level high enough to reach herd immunity, we as a city, thanks very much.
Thank you very much. Todd Slade, followed by Stephanie Elad.
This is my first time to a meeting. I've been awakened like many others. I've combed through the website and saw equality on one of the home pages. I love seeing that. Behind it has been equity, equity, and equity. That means equal outcomes. You're not God. No one in here is God. God is not here physically, okay? You are not owed a certain outcome in life. This country was not founded that way. That's why we're the greatest country in the world. The way you're running things out of the name of equity to remove advanced courses is stealing opportunity from the children. Every student in here, that's all you're doing. Lowered expectations is a form of bigotry. I respect everyone in this room, but this is unfounded, it's bad information, and it's bad decision making. I appreciate you all having me take the time up here. I truly do. But there's signs of things coming that are not good, and there's an awakening happening in this city. Thank you.
starting on Thursday. A few weeks ago, I ran into one of my daughter's old teachers at the grocery store. I asked her if she was excited for the new school year, and she told me that she had left Frisco ISD and would be teaching in Prosper this year. I asked her if she lived in Prosper, thinking that's possibly why she decided to make a change. She said no. I said that I had heard that many FISD teachers have left to go to Prosper, and she told me that in the Prosper new teacher meeting recently that more than half of the teachers had come from FISD, more than half. I could tell that there was more to the story about why she had decided to leave, but she didn't want to say. She's a 15-year teacher with FISD, or was a 15-year teacher with FISD, and was one of the best teachers that my daughter ever had. A few days ago, I saw on social media that FISD had hired over 700 new teachers to start the year. I think we should welcome all new teachers to FISD, but 700 seems a little high to me for a district with 4,500.
Thank you very much. Lindsay Robertson, followed by Autumn Bishop.
Hi, my name is Wendy Robertson, and this is my first meeting as well, and this is coming from a mother who's on the verge of pulling her student come tomorrow, high school. I am also awakened to what's going on in this world today, and a lot of people aren't. I'm concerned, my major concern is that you will cave on the mask mandate. I think it is coming, it is going to happen. Also, the vaccines, it's coming up. What are you going to do when the FDA approves them? Because Pfizer is going to approve it. Will you mandate the vaccine? Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Autumn Bishop, followed by Ren Rue.
Alright, hello everybody, I'm Autumn Bishop, and I just want to get to the point. Sexual harassment in our district is rampant. I can tell you all with confidence that everybody in this room knows how sexual harassment is a huge deal in our district. We have all either witnessed, experienced, or know somebody that has gone through this, and it's simply because we are not prioritizing consent in our classrooms and in the curriculum. I really wish that we do in our health classes, although we do have that required class. Nobody really knows the true meaning of consent, especially the students in Frisco ISD and the students in our classrooms. By incorporating sexual harassment prevention classes into health-related classes and activities promoting the action of consent and listening to students who they want. I just wish that we would prioritize consent in the curriculum. Thank you guys.
Ren Rue, followed by Sarkis Vashtik.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Rin, and I'm here with Diversify Our Narrative FIC. So, recently, Texas senators have passed Senate Bill 3, which is a bill that moves important parts of our country's history. It makes it very difficult for Texas students such as myself to learn anything but an assimilationist and white supremacist history. We are whitewashing our history and denying future generations of a truthful education. I am tired of being villainized in classrooms so that my history is more palatable to my white peers. So my heart goes out to the children who will not have the opportunity to learn about America's real history. One that teaches about the history of Native Americans, the civil rights and women's suffrage movement, and so much more. I know that as a child, I would have loved seeing myself in classroom discussions, people like Yuri Fujiyama and Fred Goromatsu, but instead, I usually just got a few sentences about the North Korean border and Japanese internment. So how will children love learning if they only see themselves in history as the villains? History will never change. Thank you for your time.
Cadence Allen.
The education system was started because of Judeo-Christian ethic and foundation upon which our nation was based, including the Constitution and Bill of Rights. The value is in having common thoughts, ideas, and virtues that will hold our society together. The word university means the unity of thought. It is not called diversity. Why are we focusing on diversity instead of unity, dividing instead of uniting one another? This was not the dream of an American education. What has happened to the content of one's character instead of the color of one's skin. Schools were originally founded to bring up intellectually virtuous, morally sound students. What is taught in schools today will become the culture of tomorrow. All this rich history and American culture being squandered or kicked to the side of the road for diversity training will not empower a well-educated generation of scholars. Thank you.
Thank you. Cadence Allen, followed by Megana Anam.
Hello, my name is Cadence Allen. I am from Coral Springs, Florida. My sister went to Stoneman Douglas and lost 2 friends due to the shooter and the mask. After that, masks were banned in schools because of security reasons. Not only is this a security issue, but it's also a health issue due to not receiving enough oxygen and breathing in carbon dioxide. So I was unable to make friends or do school normally because of masks in school. I was also unable to attend in-person school because I have a health condition where I cannot cover my face, and also because of PTSD of losing close friends due to the Stoneman Douglas shooting. Being so isolated led me to being depressed at one point, and then I realized this is all this is causing youth to suicide rate to skyrocket. Thank you.
Honorable members of the board and trustees, my name is Meghna Anam and I am a senior at Independence High School from Code Crimson. I am speaking on behalf of the many FISD students who have expressed concern over the lack of access to menstrual products in their schools. Most menstruators know what it's like to have to leave class to walk halfway across school to the nurse's office to borrow a pad. Students don't want to face a barrier to education to get essential hygiene products that could be in the bathroom next to your class. We asked the board to consider adding tampon dispensers to FISD restrooms. We propose a pilot program to implement dispensers in one high school. We have 2 solutions. First, the board can implement wall-mounted boxes of tampons in restrooms costing around $10 to $20. A second solution is to include pay-per-use tampon dispensers in restrooms costing around $200 per dispenser. If the pilot project is successful, tampon or pad boxes or dispensers can be added to all restrooms in middle and high schools in Frisco. Please consider our proposal as we are willing to work to make this a reality. Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Maya Silverman and I am a co-district lead of Diversifier Narrative FISD. Although FISD staff have already begun to diversify our curriculum, there is still work to be done. The current representation mainly focuses on the trauma of marginalized students. For example, as a Jewish student, I have rarely been represented beyond the Holocaust. The responsibility of diverse education does not fall on marginalized students, and those who are privileged, such as myself and many here, need to make sure that our voices are not speaking over people of color. All students need to learn about a narrative that is not centered around the white perspective.
Hi, I'm Athena Sang and I'm also a co-district lead. The district's mission to know every student by name and need has always been emphasized, yet is rarely held up. This is seen through the lack of student input within the curriculum development process.
Please be respectful of our speakers.
Most FISD students have never been given the opportunity to learn about how their curriculum is created, let alone provide effective criticisms. The first step in representing students properly is listening to what they have to say, and right now it seems that the district is. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Isha, and I'm here to state that students of color deserve the right to feel safe and accepted in schools. Indians are ugly. Go back to your own country, you monkey. These are the types of statements I've grown up hearing in FISD. As an 8-year-old who wanted to be accepted, this negatively impacted my development and led to an anxiety disorder, among other issues resulting from this trauma. This is only a fraction of what POC face, and we are always repeated when we speak on these issues. I've been threatened at the May Board Meeting for speaking up. Regardless of our experiences, there are still ways to be changed in the district. It's incredibly validating to minorities that are racist actions gone unaddressed. The lack of ramifications for racist students in education about systemic oppression results in negation of those who seek change. Denying the racist history of America will interdict our progression if we can't learn about what's happening in front of our own eyes. And having a positive experience in Frisco ISD does not give one the right to invalidate another's negative experience. Students of color deserve the right to learn without the constant racism they face. The personal vision believes that a safe environment is necessary for learning, and we need to see an active prioritization of that. Thank you.
Arushi, followed by Cortana and Amy.
Hi everyone, my name is Arushi, my pronouns are she, they. So I currently work as an assistant teacher at a high school, and the other day the kids were coloring, and a South Asian girl asked me for the skin-colored pencil, referring to the color that's seen on white people. When I told her that she could use darker shades like brown to color the image, she responded saying, word for word, but that's not as pretty as the white one. This is not an isolated incident, this is a universal experience. Children of color at the mere age of 3 and 4 are taught to believe that white is the norm and only white is beautiful. It reminded me that growing up, I was that young South Asian girl with the exact same mindset as her. And that's resulting from not having people of color to look up to in my life. For example, I've only had a handful of teachers that were also racial minorities. Taking a look at the demographics, 61% of FISD students are students of color. However, that is not reflected in teachers, where 19% of teachers are teachers of color. If you care about making school a welcoming place for all students, you must start focusing on intentional diversity in school. Students are tired of asking politely for the education.
Thank you. Thank you, your time is expired. Cortana and Amy, followed by Raya and Rachel.
Good evening. My name is Cortana and my pronouns are she, her. Contrary to popular beliefs, positive stereotypes can have a negative impact. For example, Asian American students in the FISD face harmful stereotypes, such as academic success standards and unattainable classroom performance, because of the model minority myth. Personally, feeling to live up to these expectations gave me immense stress and diminished my confidence. The steady pressure to succeed impedes self-worth and pits students against each other, creating a tense, unhealthy atmosphere in the classroom.
My name is Amy, my pronouns are she, her. There have been times where I would leave the classroom to break down because of unattainable standards. Due to the stereotype that all Asians are academically capable, my peers simplified my work down to my grades. This generalization is only a fraction of what BIPOC students in FISD face, and it is up to Frisco teachers to create a safe space for students. We are not invalidating the positive experience of students of color, but we need to make efforts for these students to feel more comfortable. FISD, please stop oversimplifying and overlooking our problems. Thank you for your time.
Next is Raya and Rachel, followed by Anna.
Good evening, my peer and I are here today to give an insight on how racism impacts our high school experience as athletes. In soccer, collaboration has always been key to gauging the success of the team's endeavors. With the constant interaction between teammates, my social identity was molded to a great extent by the relationships I formed. Jokes about eating curry and getting an arranged marriage became standard conversation for me as one of the only people of color, which soon established a skewed mindset as a norm for me. I soon realized these comments, whether sincerely hurtful or not, was the reason I viewed my ethnicity as a unique quality. Moreover, receiving shame for not knowing all the answers when asked for homework help proved detrimental to my self-confidence.
Being one of the only players of Asian descent in a white majority sport, volleyball, I have always felt a sense of uneasiness and isolation. When our team practiced drills that involved scorekeeping, my teammates would always ask me to keep score due to the assumption that I'm good at math. As an Asian American, I'm regarded as physically inferior to white people, resulting in others belittling my accomplishments. Moreover, many people emphasize Asians in education, minimizing the path to college and professional athletics for Asians. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anna, followed by Kaylin Ruiz.
Hi, my name is Anna Pricing and I'm a mom of 3 kids at Frisco ISD. This is my first time at this meeting. I just wanted to let you know that a lot of parents, and including myself, feel that your place in advanced ISD classes with merging them with on-level classes makes us feel like this violates the Education Code for Texas, Title II, Public Education, with the objective for parents to be full partners with educators in the education of their children. We feel like we did not get sufficient notice, and we feel like we would love to get better transparency from the district. We also feel that removing these classes violates objective number 2, which states meet their full educational potential. We would like you to provide us with better transparency in the future. Sorry.
Thank you very much. Caitlin, were we? Oh, I'm sorry, we can't take additional comments if you have. Oh, I'm sorry, couldn't hear you. I apologize. Okay, then please join us at the podium.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board. I speak on behalf of all concerned parents. The TA and Chelish's guidelines state that schools don't have to inform parents of positive cases, conduct contact tracing, and parents can still choose to send a child to school even if there is close contact with an infected student. If that doesn't sound preposterous, then I'm leaving this building full of doubts for our children's future. Dallas ISD has made it clear that they will be using mask protocols for their staff, students, and visitors. I'm perplexed on how FISD is not following suit. More than 8,000 Americans died of COVID just in July, and more will die with this month if this preventative illness is not implementing protocols. Delta has an RO of 6 to 8, which means that for every infected person, 6 to 8 people will contract the virus. How can I feel a little safer? FISD is required to keep our children safe. If we have more vaccines, more ventilation options during lunch, safe distancing protocols for class dismissal, masks, and social distancing.
Thank you for your opinion. Followed by Anna Gonzalez.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board. I first want to thank you all for dedicating your time to listen to us, your constituents, today. If you weren't aware, according to the American Academy of Pediatrics, 93,824 child COVID-19 cases were reported between July 29th and August 5th, with children representing 15% of the weekly reported cases in the U.S. Ladies and gentlemen, that is just within 1 week. Imagine what a duration of an entire school year can do. As of today, Dallas ISD has issued that they will be contesting Abbott's executive order and requiring masks in order to set foot on any district-owned property, and I assure you they will not be the only one. I ask and implore the board to follow suit alongside DISD and look at the reality of what COVID is doing on this day that I stand before you. As a sister and a person, I am taught that the importance of every single life matters. I find it ironic that in the same executive order, Abbott states how COVID-19 poses an imminent threat of disaster to all Texas counties. This is word for word.
Thank you. Jenny Scott, followed by Sunita Mehta.
Good evening, my name is Jenny Scott and I'm representing Cindy Hans, who couldn't be here tonight because she is in quarantine. Cindy Hans is a retired teacher from Frisco ISD. She retired 5 years ago. Educators are telling her that if they need to quarantine for COVID reasons, this school year they must use their own days. One incident of COVID could take out all a teacher's sick days for the whole year, requiring them to be docked for further sick days. Educators are willingly putting themselves at risk for the best interests of their children. And their students, they deserve to have the district looking out for them. Fear of getting docked for sick days might force educators to come to work sick, risking the health of unvaccinated others. I ask fervently that Frisco ISD contact trace all cases of COVID like they did last year and to keep up a COVID dashboard. It is reported Garland ISD already has 31 staff and 224 students who have tested positive for COVID. It is not fair to our educators, parents, and students to not give them knowledge to protect their families and loved ones, since many of them have family members who have autoimmune issues or children under the age of 12. Thank you.
We actually will be getting an update from our CFO this evening on that exact topic regarding sick days for teachers. So if you'll stick around to the end, there will be some more clarifying information. Thanks for joining us.
Dr. Archambault, Superintendent Dr. Waldrop, and members of the board, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to speak. As a physician and as a mother of 2 FISD students, I want to thank you for leading the charge with regards to virtual learning during this COVID pandemic. I humbly request that you continue to show this kind of leadership and flexibility in placing the safety of our children first. I humbly request that you strongly consider the current CDC and American Association of Pediatric guidelines as the Delta variant takes hold. I would request you to continue to encourage students for masking and staff with regardless of their vaccination status, to reinstitute social distancing in the classrooms and in the entire school, increasing ventilation and options for outdoor seating and outdoor learning for lunch times as well as for classroom learning. And lastly, to continue contact tracing. Thank you so much for not only your time, but your consideration to these requests.
Followed by Elizabeth Michael. And then after Elizabeth will be Anthony Calhoun. Good evening. You guys have heard me talk about recess a lot. So I thought today I would, instead of you hearing from me, share some words from other parents. I have in my hand a signed petition with 961 signatures, and I haven't really even pushed this petition very much. I'm sure there's many more who would sign. This petition is requesting a formal second recess in the elementary school day for our children. There's already the brain break, which has been awesome and has basically functioned as a recess at a lot of schools, but it has not done so at some other schools, and we're requesting just some consistency on that, which should be minor modifications to the existing program. So here are some comments from the parents that have signed this petition. We need the downtime to be up again. Recess gives that to children. Kids need playtime and frequent breaks to unwind more than adults do. I have a master in education and an emphasis in early childhood with... Thank you. Sorry, your time is expired, but feel free to send me your comments to me. Elizabeth, followed by Anthony Calhoun.
Good evening. My name is Elizabeth Michel. I am the mother of 2 Frisco ISD children. I would like to start by thanking each of you for your continued diligence in engaging in thoughtful, science-based, non-political governing as school board members. It's unfortunate
Please respect our speakers.
For claiming my time. It's unfortunate our governor put into place such an irresponsible no-mask mandate, and you feel your hands may be tied. However, I know there are practices and procedures Frisco ISD can put into place to help keep all children safe this school year. 1, send a district-wide statement strongly recommending all teachers, students, and anyone inside school buildings wear masks. 2, encourage and educate parents that vaccines are safe and available for free for ages 12 and up. 3, encourage social distancing when possible. 4, lead by example and wear your masks inside at all times. Are these inconveniences? Most would say yes. Are they annoying? Again, yes. I would ask, are they worth it? I have a child with food allergies, and her classmates probably felt inconvenienced at times. I would suggest an inconvenience is a small sacrifice when the risk is another.
Thank you. I'm sorry, your time is up. Followed by Chloe King, and then Jenna Maskler. Sorry, I butchered that last name.
Good evening. My name is Anthony Calhoun, and thank you for allowing me to address you this evening. My address is about I had the opportunity to sit across the table from my 6th grader who was taking social studies at a middle school. The lesson was on the triangle of trade, and it referred to basically Africa sending labor over to the New World. And I thought to myself, labor is a thing, and that thing does not adequately represent my son's ancestry. I wrote the principal as to how come we refer to people as labor, and she told me it was illegal to talk about the slave trade in the state of Texas. I'm not requesting the school board to go against Texas law. However, I do believe the school system can pay adequate attention and respect to all ethnic groups. At a minimum, consider Africa sent people who produce materials or some other wording that recognizes my son's ancestry and not as a thing, but as human beings.
Thank you very much. And then Valerie Klein.
Hello, my name is Chloe King, and I'm here to talk about the racism in FISD schools and how the curriculum should better represent people of color. The district belief states everyone has equal inherent worth and deserves to be treated with respect and dignity, and a safe environment is necessary for learning. Yet I'm not too sure I felt safe in school like I'm supposed to. A few examples of these things that have been said to me are, can you even afford to live here? Even an FISD teacher has made fun of my hair before, and my braids used to get pulled on by the white kids as a joke. Does that seem respectful and dignified behavior to you? Is this what the board considers safe? When it comes to history, schools in FISD talk about people of color activists like Martin Luther King Jr. and Gandhi, but never talk about the quote-unquote radical people like Malcolm X or Angela Davis. The reason why we don't learn about these people is because they're unpalatable for the white community. To sum this up, FISD has to do better to make students of color feel represented and safe in your schools by implementing a system to make their identities shown, along with creating a more comprehensive curriculum that showcases people of color in multifaceted ways. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Jenna, followed by Valerie Klein.
Hey there. I'm gonna jump right in and beg that we don't reinstitute the mask mandate. Please, please do not do that to our kids. I believe that we should prepare the child for the path, not the path for the child, because it creates a victim mentality. We don't want that. If we're gonna blend advanced ILA and on-level, we're diminishing and not acknowledging raw talent, curiosity, academic excellence, the things that Frisco should be built upon. If we're gonna do that, then we should eliminate first string football, A, B, and C volleyball. Everybody should just be equal. It doesn't make any sense. If we hire a director of inclusivity, diversity, and equity, we also need to hire a director of morals, principles, and Christianity.
Oh my God.
For the Muslims, which is fine. We also need a chapel room.
Thank you very much. Valerie Klein.
Thank you very much. I'm here to speak today for several reasons. First and foremost, I'm here to support the FISD board, staff, and teachers. I have 3 children who have gone all the way through FISD, one who is a junior. I know firsthand the excellence that is Frisco ISD, so thank you. I am a part of the silent majority. This is my first Frisco board meeting, and I'm very happy with the education and support my children have gotten. So I sat quietly and enjoyed the privileges of a good education has provided my children. I am thankful for the love and guidance that many, 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 many teachers have given my children over the years. The first thing I would like to talk about is that teachers do not become teachers to make a lot of money. They become teachers because of a calling to make the world a better place and to love those children. I think it is very unfair to our teachers to expect them to give up their days because they have to quarantine, especially when they catch COVID, possibly doing their job at school, where no one is required to wear a mask. They are doing the best for our children. The least we can do is our best for them. Speaking of masks, I believe that we should follow both Dallas and Austin and start the year with the rule that students and teachers must be wearing.
Mr. Stockton, would you mind giving us an update on the COVID protocols that will be implemented this year? I think there's been some confusion, and I'd love to be able to direct families and parents to where they can find those resources. So just a high-level overview would be really helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you all for having me to speak about this. So the first thing I'll say is that all of the information about our response to COVID-19 is on our website. If you go to the main FriscoISD.org homepage, there's a button right at the top that says COVID-19. You click into that and it takes you right to all of the information. We presented the protocols that we expected to have in place for the fall to y'all at the end of last school year in May, and those are the protocols that we have in place. Pursuant to the governor's executive order, masks are optional for all students and staff and visitors.
Please just let him speak so we can get this update.
And the same is true of vaccines. So the order prohibits school districts from requiring masks. It also prohibits school districts from requiring vaccines, and we will continue to comply with that order. So masks are optional for all students, staff, and visitors. In addition to that, we have significantly more students on campus this year than we had last year because of the fact that we do not have virtual learning options. So social distancing is much more difficult. Obviously, we will accommodate requests as best we can from parents, but the fact is that it's not going to be feasible for us to do social distancing in all situations. We are requiring quarantines, or really isolation, for people who test positive. And actually, the Department of State Health Services has now added COVID-19 to their communicable disease list, and so we are actually now required by the state to exclude students, in particular, who test positive for COVID-19 for 10 days from the date that their symptoms start, or they test positive if they don't have any symptoms. And then they will be able to return after that, as long as they're fever-free for 24 hours, and their symptoms have improved. Same is true for staff. That same rule applies to them. For students, they will be able to work with their campus to make sure they're continuing to receive education during that time period, so that when they come back on campus, they're not missing a beat. And then, I don't know if you want me to talk about staff or if you want to mention it in a minute. Okay. And then in addition to that, we also are going to be notifying all of our parents when we have positive cases on campus. So for elementary, because most of our students at elementary are in either a single class or two classes, we will be notifying the entire class when we have a case in that class. And so that will be the notification if there's a student in that class or a teacher in that class that tests positive. At the secondary level, where they're mixing and matching kind of throughout the day across the campus, we'll be notifying the entire campus with a letter that will let them know when we have a positive case reported to us. Those letters will go out the day that we get the report. Or shortly, or the next morning if we get one overnight. So we will be notifying of that. Now, when we talked back in May, we talked about not having a dashboard on the website. I think a lot of people don't realize how time intensive and labor intensive that dashboard was. But we are going to have a modified version of the dashboard on the website. I'm working with communications on getting that up and running right now. And it will list the number of cases for each campus that were reported to us. And these are cases that are people who were actually on campus during the infectious period, which is 48 hours prior to symptoms starting through the end of their quarantine period. So if they were on campus during that period and we find out that they tested positive, then we will have that number, and that will be updated each week on our website so that people can see how many cases were reported in the previous week. Parents and staff are continued to be required to report to us if their student tests positive for COVID. Again, because of that new Department of State Health Services rule about COVID-19, parents are required to keep their student home if they have symptoms of COVID-19, just like they would for the flu or any other illness. And I think those are kind of the main high-level things, but I'm happy to answer questions if y'all have specific questions.
Thank you. I think we're good. I thought it was very important. We've received hundreds and hundreds of emails in the last 4 days, and I think it's important that we're just very transparent with what we are doing. And so thank you for that information.
Yes, and one other note I'll make is that just as we've done throughout this entire pandemic, these protocols have been developed in collaboration with our local health authority, Dr. Mark Amber, who's the local health authority for the cities of Frisco and the city of Plano. He's an emergency room doctor. He treats COVID patients. This is the physician that has been helping us with these protocols throughout this entire process, and this continues to be the case with our protocols right now. So, thank you.
Thank you.
I was just going to point out that since our last board meeting, and since I was the one that was pointing it out at the end of it, that ILA pilot, there's a very nice detailed FAQ on our website. It's not on Facebook, it's not on Twitter. It's on the district's website, and we'll point everybody there to get that information. It's got a lot of the how, why, what. The fact that it is a pilot with several of our schools, it is a pilot and not being pushed down from on high because some of our campuses asked for it. So there's more out there. I'm just pointing that out so everybody knows that it's there. It was posted in July. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to item 8A, consider an act on approval of minutes from June 14 regular meeting, June 22nd special meeting, July 13th